This is an Amiga 600, or at least what's left of it. Missing keys, rusted port, a case that's coming apart at the seams. It's clearly been through a lot, and for a long time it was left to the elements. But inside, who knows what it's like. Let's see if we can bring it back to life. Let's crack on! As you've probably seen from the intro video, this is a very neglected Amiga 600. Now you can see from here there's snapped off keys, the case is coming apart there for some reason, there's rust all over the ports, there is even rust in the PMCI slot there. But I think it can be saved. What do you guys think? What we're going to do, we're going to strip it down. The case is going to go into the dishwasher to keep it all nice and clean. The keys are going to be recto-brighted. We're going to strip the keyboard down and we're going to try and fix these keys that are broken. And hopefully at the end of it, we can have a working Amiga 600. Well, I'm going to try my best. We're going to have a look at the board, see if there's any work needed to the board. It's bound to need a recap, I'm sure it is, but we're going to do that anyway because I've got a set of caps there somewhere ready to go into this machine. So without further ado, let's crack on and see if we can restore this Amiga 600 to its former glory. So we're going to start by taking the screws out. Believe it or not, the screws are still in there. There's 4 screws. Unfortunately, the seal's been broken, so it looks like somebody's been inside this. So let's get this undone if we can. So let's get this thing open and have a look inside. Straight away, I can see a lot of rust. Now the keyboard has come apart. This was not plugged in, the keyboard LEDs. I'm surprised the light's still connected because usually these wires break. Now there is a lot of rust along here and it looks like the keyboard has started to pop out already. So we'll take this keyboard out. Just like so. It's just fastened in with these little clips here. Now we'll get that ready to be stripped down and cleaned. And this here, you can see there's a hell of a lot of rust. So let's just get these LED lights removed here, just so we can pop this into the dishwasher. Now this can go to one side and get ready for the dishwasher and see how it comes out. Inside, straight away, there's a lot of rust in this top corner here. There's rust over the RF ports. There's a lot of rust inside the machine. Now it does look as if these capacitors have leaked, so these will need to come off and get recapped. But what the main thing is I'm going to do is try and get this main board out because there seems to be an awful lot of rust. Now we're just going to try to take these rusty screws out and get this board removed.
Two hours later.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. That is some severe rust. Okay, so let's see what the board looks like underneath this in a minute. But you can see there, this looks like it might have been sat in a puddle or something. Especially down in this corner, like I said, by the DC socket was especially bad. So again, that's got to go into a soak into the dishwasher and we will see this plastic later, hopefully in much better condition. Looking at the board, there is corrosion around this chip here, which I know is the video output for the composite video. There's corrosion around these caps, so these caps do need removing, especially these audio caps down here. And there's also quite a bit of corrosion down this side here, again around the caps. But I think we can sort this board. There's some like sort of muck or something on top of here that's a clean off. But other than that, it doesn't look too bad. There is some corrosion around here and some traces, etc. I think, well, I'm going to try my best to sort this and get this working. Let's try and get this surround off so we can have a look underneath, because that is what worrying me, is underneath there. Because you can see there's a huge amount of rust. But I do know these Amiga boards are pretty well protected with like a plastic sheet underneath here. So I'm just going to get the old nut twister out, and we're just going to untwist these standoffs here that hold this metal plate on. I'm just going to try and get this removed out, because I don't think I'm going to reuse this yet. I don't know. Let's just see. There you go. So that is the underneath there. You can see it is actually, you can scrape it off there. It's that thick. Now, what I'm going to do with this, I don't know whether I'm going to reuse this or not. We'll have a look and see if we can clean it up. I've got an idea to clean this up, but let's just see how it comes out later. So now we have the board complete with a lot of rust on my desk, which I do need to clean off. So I have the board here. Let's have a look underneath. Yes, there is some rust ingress on this side here, but I don't think it's got further enough to do any damage on the board. We will of course clean that off. Now, like I said before, around the DC socket is the worst. I don't know whether you can see there is a big pile up of it there. So I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to get this DC socket removed. I do have another one, and we'll get all this board cleaned up, because you can see there it is very bad. But what we do, we'll have a look under the scope as we're doing that, so you'll be able to see that a bit closer. Now these ports will probably clean up okay. The RF I'm not overly concerned about, but we can pop that lid off and we'll try and give that a clean off as well. Now I am going to remove all the capacitors. I'm going to remove this chip here to clean, because although you can't see now probably on this screen, when we get the microscope close up on it, you'll see it is quite badly corroded on the legs as well as around here as well. But I do have a spare board if we need some spare chips. So I'm going to put the plastics into the dishwasher and just start them cleaning, and we'll probably have a look at sorting the keyboard out, because they need keys leaving to Retrobrite. So I'm going to put this to one side for now, and we will revisit it soon, and we'll just have a look at this keyboard here, because first things first, we need to get these broken key bits out. So we just need to turn this over and undo all these million of screws. So that's all the screws removed. Let's get this apart now, hopefully. So we should be able to just... I've actually found another screw under the rust here. Couldn't quite see it. It is there. So we can lift that off. Now again, there is some liquid ingress into the membrane here, but hopefully we can clean that off. We're going to give it a good clean anyway, like we said. And now we should be able to just drop all these out, or the broken ones anyway. Let's hope. So we'll just push all the broken ones out. So for now, this is all the broken bits out. Now what we need to do is try and remove these broken bits out of the keys. Can I push them from underneath? I don't know. Let me have a look. I'm hoping I can just push. Yes, I can. That did fly off somewhere at high speed. But you can see these are coming out. So I'll just quickly get these done. Now we have all these sorted. Next what we need to do is to just take the rest of the keys off. The case now is back out of the dishwasher. Now you can see there it's lovely and clean, but inside we still have an issue. You can see here the rust has stained the case all inside. I tried scrubbing it and it generally does not want to come off. So I thought, let's Google this. So I Googled it. I ended up on the old YouTube. I ended up searching for a while. And a couple of hours later I was watching some videos and I discovered something. So I think it's time now to do some science and see if we can get this clean. In this box here is everything hopefully to get rid of the rust. We've got a 2 litre jug, some tough rubber gloves, some cups for measuring, some citric acid, some sodium bicarbonate, otherwise known as baking soda, and we're not making a cake, a wooden spoon, and a pair of digital scales, as well as this tub. So let's crack on and see if we can make this solution to get this clean. That should be enough. I've now added 4 litres of water into this thing. Now all we need to do is to measure out the citric acid, which I think was 40 grams per litre. This is 4 times 40, which should be 160, I think, off top of my head. Hopefully that's right. I've got my gloves on for safety, and we'll stick this in the water. So next I'm going to add the bicarbonate of soda, and I need, I've just had it on my calculator, 252 grams of this. So now if we just add this to there, this is where the fun should start. Yeah, that is pretty mad. you can see it does react, and it is making a lot of bubbles. Now we have to wait for that to clear. Apparently it is good to use a spoon and just mix that around as you're doing this. Now you have to wait for the reaction to stop. So once it's calmed down, the last ingredient you need is this. Yes, I forgot to add it before, but it's just washing up liquid. Apparently, I don't know how much you add. Let's just add a good deal. There you go. Apparently this changes some of the makeup or something of the place. I don't know. Let's just see. And I guess we'll just give it a bit of a, or just make it more like jellified. So I'm just going to give that a mix. It just feels a lot thicker now. More like a gel. So what we're going to do next is we're going to get the rusty Amiga case and we're just going to submerge it in here and see what happens. And we're just going to leave it in there. I need some sort of weight on there, don't I? Now, it is the next day, and I can tell you whether the rust results have worked or not. I'm not quite sure on the plastics, but I did put the main board in as well overnight. I just basically balanced on the edge of the case, just so the rusty ports were inside. So I've also put the RF shield in here as well. But here's the RF shield. Now, do you remember how rusty this was? This was really, really bad, and you can see the majority of the rust has come off, and it looks like I can just scrub it off and rinse it off. So that has worked. This was really bad. Yeah, the rust is literally just falling off this. So that has cleaned up really nice, because that was in a bad state. So we're just going to take this off, rinse this off, and I'll show you the results in a while. Now this is the case. You could also see a big difference on this as well, especially in this corner. And again, looks like most of this rust is just going to brush off. You see it's just falling off. So again, I'm going to give all this a rinse out, leave it out to dry, and we shall show you the results. Now I thought I put the top in here. Yeah, that there is the top off the RF shield, and that was really, really bad. You can see there now, there's another major difference. So this liquid does seem to work, guys, and I'm very, very happy with it. So I'm just gonna give this all a rinse off, leave it out to dry, and then we'll visit the results in a while. So these are results. Here's the base. Now you can see straight away nearly 100% of the rust has gone. Well, there's some little bits here, some little bits in this corner, but this corner was really, really bad. If you remember, it was just caked in rust along there. So that is a win-win for me, and I will be using this method again. Now I also cleaned the plastic, again nice and clean, and I also put the RF shield in, and look at that, it's a huge difference. This was just pure rust. Yeah, there's still a bit of discoloration there, but that will just clean off. That'll wipe off, that will. As far as the main board's concerned, now if we look at these ports now, there is a huge difference. They're now shiny and silver. Before they were all rusty. I stick the picture up there now so you can see the difference. Same again here. And the method I use for this is I just sort of lent it in the solution like that, so it's just the ports that were in the actual rust. And it does seem to have cleaned it, which is absolutely brilliant. Now, we did do the top of the RF cover as well there, which you can see now. That again was just pure rust. Look at it now, it looks a hell of a lot better. So now we're going to start work on this board. So I'm about to start working with the board. Now the first thing I'm going to do is to start recapping. Now I've got my recapping tool here. Nah, I'm only joking guys, I'm going to get out tweezers and take them off properly. Some people do use these, but I myself don't agree with using these and cutting them off. I know some people do. I'm not having a moan at you for doing it that way, whichever way works for you. I personally am going to be using hot tweezers and removing all these capacitors.
Many unbearable hours later.
The pads on this side have totally gone. Now there is a lot of corrosion on this side. If you look around this chip here, look at that. We're going to have to lift that off and just re-clean that, and hopefully the pads ain't gone too much under there as well. And we can check these traces to check they're okay before we put this chip back on. Now we do need to rebuild some pads, like I said, but hopefully that shouldn't be that bad to do. So the board has now been recapped. I repaired a load of damage along here. I repaired that chip, it had the bad pads. I also ended up taking the keyboard connector off to replace the catch behind because I didn't want to melt anything, but that was a bit of a pig to get off, to be honest, and I had to repair that one trace underneath. Now down here as well, there was a lot of capacitor juice as well. It smelt really, really fishy. So let's just see how we get on. Let's turn it on and see if we get anything at all. Now, we have got an image, which is a bonus, but to me, that's missing the blue, because I can see the red, I can see the green. I can't actually see any blue. So what I'm going to do off camera, I'm just quickly going to connect the composite to it. I'll take a picture and we'll see if it's any different on that as well. So bear with me and I'll be back in a minute. On composite, the picture's absolutely fine, which means there's an issue with the RGB. Specifically, the blue line is missing. So what we'll do, we'll have a look around here where it comes from. It comes from this U12 here, and then it goes through these transistors here. There's 1, 2, 3 transistors. The top one is blue, the next one is red, and I think the bottom one is green. It then goes around the board, etc., until finally out the port here. So I'm going to have a look under the microscope, and we're going to have a look around this area here and see if we can ping it out. As I said before, we have no blue. Now the RGB comes from this U12 here, then it goes through these 3 transistors here. So if you've got an okay picture on composite video, but your RGB is not, you've got a colour missing, which you can usually tell by the way it looks like. I could tell blue was missing. Then these 3 transistors here are your first port of call. The RGB signal comes from the chip signal separately, so like the blue goes to here, the red goes to there, and the green goes to the bottom one here. So what you need to do is you need to trace the signals by using PCB Explorer. Now I've selected the blue one on there so we can trace the signals from these pins. Just check if we've got any broken traces. So that one is fine. So the first one is fine. This second one goes through this via here underneath the board. So I'm going to have to check that again later, because at the moment I can't get my probe in alongside this cap. Now this other one here should go in a trace under the capacitor here and along to a point up here. Which it is not, so that proves that that is broken, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly lift this capacitor here and we'll have a look underneath to see what's going on, and hopefully we can get this fixed. Now what I'm doing here is I'm repairing this trace that's broken by feeding the wire through the via to the other side, where it will then be joined, and of course joining it on this side to the broken trace, then covering it with some UV mask. That's about the gist of it basically. So all being well, we're ready to test again. I did test the trace that went underneath. It went through the via to the other side, and then I tested it from the port all the way back. So hopefully it's okay. Now there was a one broken trace underneath the capacitor, which we repaired a minute ago. So the next thing to do is to just power this on and try it and see if it's fixed. Definitely looks better, doesn't it? Yeah, for definite. You can see the colours pop a lot more now. They had like a yellowy tint to it before. It's hard to explain. You can always tell when one colour is missing, when one of the primary colours is missing. So that to me looks like a win-win. This old battered Amiga seems to be living again. So next plan is I'm just going to get the case back together, go and get the keyboard back together, and then we'll just have one final look at it before we end the video. So here's the abandoned Amiga 600, and I hope you agree with me by saying it looks 100% better. I'm really happy the way it turned out. There is still some issues, I'll show you. The clips on the back have broken, so it's hard to get it to stay clipped. This corner is still an issue as the case is slightly bent. I think what I need to do is apply some heat and try and fettle that back. But first we need to buy some clips. You can buy some clips that are 3D printed you can stick in, which should repair this case. At the back we still need to look at the floppy. The ports look a hell of a lot better. The whole machine just looks a lot better, as you can see from what we started. So the plan moving forward with this machine is going to be, about 3 years ago I built this here. It may be 4 years ago. It's a memory expansion for Amiga 600, which allows you to run WHD games, etc. But I could never get it working. Could never work out how to flash this chip here. But now I consider myself a lot more experienced, and I think I can actually do this. Well, I hope I can anyway. I seem to have a lot more tools, etc., and a bit more knowledge. So next video we're going to see if we can get this memory expansion working. We're going to install a SD card in here as well on the ID bus, and we're going to see if we can get it working and running some games. We'll also look at the floppy drive and get that fixed, and also order those case bits and try sort the case out. So this machine is finished then, and it can go on my shelf behind me as one that I saved. So on that note, I shall see you in the outro. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now that was a bit of an adventure. I did some science as well. A bit of confession on the science. When I was measuring the stuff out, I actually realised right at the end of the video I'd made a major boo-boo. Yes, instead of measuring 4 times 40, I actually had in my head when I was measuring it and doing it on the video that it was 4 times 100. So I put way too much citric acid in there. You can see here on the scales on the picture. Now that was probably why everything ended up that grey colour. To be honest, I was happy with the results I got from that, and it did work. Just remember, you follow the instructions and it's 40 grams per 1 litre of water, not 100 grams per 1 litre of water. So it is what it is. I mean, I admit these mistakes. We all make mistakes. We're only human after all. On that note, on humans, if you're new here, then please hit the like button. In fact, everybody hit that like button, please. The more likes I get, the better for the channel. Also, if you haven't done already, then hit that subscribe button. A big thank you to my paying supporters. It's 99p a month, and it all goes towards running the channel, helping me. News-wise, coming up next week, I'm working on editing a video on a Macintosh Classic 2, which I repaired. So if you like Macintosh Classics, the small compacts, then be sure to check that out next week. Also check the links down below to my YouTube buddies. You got the likes of Captain Commodore, 8-Bit Retro Refix, and Joseph Retro Bits. I think Joseph's taking a bit of a break while he redoes his room, but be sure to check out his other stuff. They're all great stuff. Also down below is a link to our Discord group, the YouTube Retro Repairers. Now we run a live stream at the end of every month, all of us together, so just come along to check them out as well. They're great fun. And also come along to the Discord group and have a chat with us all. There's an email down below if you want to reach out to me for anything. It's just neil@retroforyou.co.uk. It's easy enough to remember. And on that note, I shall see you next time on Retro For You. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.